We're joined now here on GCR by a man who, I guess, like the Orioles and Phillies have become kind of strange bedfellows over the course of the last week or so. And we're going to learn about a few of the newest Orioles right now from NBC Sports Phillies analyst and former MLB catcher, Mr. Ben Davis, who's back with us here on GCR. Ben, it's Glenn. It's good to chat with you as always, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Ben, lots of places to start. If I could, I want to go to Seranthony Dominguez first because, admittedly, I was on board. Hey, Austin Hayes probably not going to be an Oriole long term. Trying to use an asset to get something that can be helpful. That's a good thing. I was chatting yesterday with Saris from The Athletic, and he was looking at Seranthony Dominguez's stuff plus and said, I think Seranthony Dominguez could actually be a back end of the rotation option. Like if this continues to go south with Craig Kimbrell, I think he could be a closer option. Is there a chance? I know the Phillies bullpen was loaded and he was kind of lost in the shuffle. Is there a chance he's that good that he's more than just an arm?
Yeah, there's that option. Optionality. We always like to use that term. Yeah, there is that optionality for him to do that. Lord knows he's got the stuff. He's got the big arm. He can sink it. He can cut it. He's got a good slider and a decent changeup when he's throwing it right. The only problem with him is he can be just a little combustible. I think he tries too hard at times, and he overthrows. When he misses, and this is something you guys can keep an eye out for, but his miss is always kind of glove side down in the dirt. So down and away to a righty, down and into a lefty, and he just goes sideways, and then he just starts yanking everything. And that's usually his miss. When he is on, he's staying on line. He's staying on line towards home plate, and he's throwing the ball through the catcher's mitt, not just to it. He has the stuff. He's always had the stuff, and when he came back from his Tommy John a couple years ago, he feels great. It's just a matter of him just staying within himself, trusting himself, and just realizing, I have really good stuff, and I don't think you're going to get a hit. But when he does that, he's so much better when he's in the strike zone. And hitting is hard enough, but then you got to hit 98 to 100 with sink or cut. It doesn't always have to be pinpoint to get guys out. If he realizes that, he's going to have even more success.
So everything you say there is interesting, Ben, because I like the stuff, but the temperament is the part that concerns me. Just in the context of someone that maybe could be using. Look, the Orioles are certainly hoping that Craig Kimbrell can right the ship, but I don't need to tell you that I don't have a whole lot of faith in that myself. Is the temperament of Seranthony Dominguez? When you say that he hasn't trusted himself, I don't know. Does that smell like someone who could close?
Yeah, I mean that's the always thing. Does he have the makeup to be that ninth inning guy where there's no net? There's no safety net when he's pitching that ninth inning. There's times when he looks out there, he's cool, calm, and collected. And other times he looks like he's just going at I had a basketball coach in high school who said, we're always going at 78 speed. I'm really dating myself. But at the speed of records, when you put on 78 speed, you're just going out of control. But, when he just takes a deep breath and just comes in and it seems like the more pitches he throws, the more comfortable he gets. But when he's his first couple pitches, he just seems like he's all geeked up and amped up. Mm-hmm. He just needs to take a couple deep breaths and just let it ride. And again, trust himself a little bit more. But when he does that, he can be as lethal as anybody in baseball.
Yeah, we saw him hit like 98 the other night. That was very impressive. The other reliever the Orioles acquired from the Phillies, Gregory Soto. Again, the Orioles need a bullpen help, so I'm good with it. But where is the line between Gregory Soto as far as being a really impactful arm or kind of just being a loogie at this point in his career?
He's almost like a left-handed Seranthony Dominguez. Honestly, it's like one and the same. This stuff is there. I mean, he's even actually throws on a given day actually harder than Seranthony. It's just a matter of him, staying within himself, not trying to do so much. When he gets ahead of hitters, it's a completely different ballgame. But when he falls behind, just like pretty much everyone else in the league, he's got to lay one in there and guys hit it. But he's got a sinker that is as good as anybody's, and it's at 100 miles an hour. He's got a great slider as well. But sometimes when he overthrows a slider, it stays up in the zone, it gets hit. When he overthrows his sinker, it stays up in the zone, it flattens out, and it gets hit. So it's pretty much just a left-handed version of Seranthony, and just whether or not he wants to trust it or just try and show everybody how great he is and how hard he can throw, and that's when he gets into problems.
He is Ben Davis, Phillies TV analyst. He's with us here on GCR. Ben, if I could, but before I get to Pache, what was the reaction on the other side in Philadelphia to Austin Hayes? I know he had the big home run the other night, but was there excitement about the fact that he has contributed significantly? What was the response up there to Hayes?
Well, I think people didn't know a whole lot about him. I think it was a little reassuring to the fans in baseball that didn't know him, and the simple fact that Dave Dombrowski, who is as respected as anybody in the game of baseball and a surefire Hall of Famer, when he came out and said, hey, I've been trying to get this guy for 2 years, I think that kind of put everyone's mind at ease and say, you know what, if Dave Dombrowski is saying that he wanted a guy for 2 years, he must be impressed with him and must be a heck of a ball player. So initial reactions, the fans love him. They can see that he plays hard. The no batting gloves, it's a blue-collar mentality. I think that really plays here in Philadelphia. It's a hard-working city, and, much like Baltimore. And it's just a place, I think, that where he can thrive and get a lot more bats. He basically just got pushed out in Baltimore. There was just no room in the inn for him down there with all the good young talent you guys have in that outfield. So he's going to get an opportunity to play here, and so far so good. He's played a good defense, and look forward for more production out of him.
All right, to Christian Pache, and I know he's fast, and I know he can play defensively, but he doesn't hit at all, and he doesn't really even hit left-handers, which is the one thing that you'd want him to do. Is there room for Christian Pache on the roster of a team that's trying to win a World Series in the regular season?
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Unless he's a guy that needs to run, be a pinch runner late in ball games. I mean, I defensively, I like your outfield. I mean, they make their plays when they need to. They make the standard plays, the routine plays. Unless you really have someone out there that you think is a liability, then that Pache would be able to go in late in the ball game with a lead to preserve that lead. It's tough because he doesn't hit a whole lot, and it doesn't hit lefties all that well, which is surprising. But if they feel the need that where they need a late inning defensive replacement or a late inning pinch runner, then yes, there's a spot for him on the ball club. But if not, then I don't really see the purpose that he would serve on that team.
Yeah, Ben, it's the weird feeling that I have, right? Where I could justify his spot on a playoff roster because of those things, right? That those things matter in a playoff situation, but on a regular season roster, when you need these guys to play every now and then, it feels like that's the reason why the Philadelphia Phillies were happy to move on from him.
Yeah, and if you look at it, we have Johan Rojas here in Philadelphia, which he's basically going to be that late inning replacement guy. He's pretty much the same player as Johan Rojas, and the Phillies are choosing to take him. He does play against lefties. Give Brandon Marsh a day off. Yeah. But he, again, not a whole lot of offensive production there. Very skilled defensively and can run, but he struggles getting bunts down and things like that and moving runners. So that's something if you don't have a whole lot of slug in your game, you're going to have to do that, especially if you're a speed guy. And unfortunately, he's not doing that either here in Philadelphia. But he and Pache were pretty much the same player.
Ben, if I could, because the Orioles and Phillies have kind of been in similar situations these last few weeks, and almost dating back to that electric series that was played in Baltimore that was just awesome a few weeks back. We know these are good teams. They've both struggled a bit of late. How much concern is there? Is this just baseball for the Phillies? Is this just, hey, it goes this way sometimes? We know this team is too good? Or are there bigger concerns about the way that they've been playing of late?
There are some concerns. And this is a city that obviously off to such a hot start. Almost 30 games over 500. Right. And recently it's been a grind. You're talking about two ball clubs in the Phillies and the Orioles that they hit a lot of home runs. And I equate them to, and I said this on the postgame show the other night, they're almost like a three-point shooting basketball team. If those threes are going down, that's awesome. Right. It's great that those threes are going down. But if they're not going down, you have to find other ways to score. You got to pick and roll. You got to backdoor cut. You got to, you just do different things on the basketball court if those threes aren't going down. Well, if you're not hitting the ball out of the ballpark, then you're going to lose a lot of ball games if you can't find other ways to score. If you don't hit and run, I was very impressed with the Guardians. Just came in before. Before I'm trying to think who the Phillies just played. The Yankees. Before the Yankees came in, the Guardians came in. That ball club, they don't hit a lot of home runs, but man, they steal bases. They play good defense. Their bullpen is ridiculous, best in the American League. But I was very impressed with the way they battled up there. They didn't strike out a whole lot. And they find ways to win ball games, and the reason they have one of the best records in all of baseball. So this is a team, I think, the Orioles and the Phillies, they have to find other ways to score. And right now, the big guns for the Phillies are not getting it done. Bryce Harper is really, really struggling. He's down in the low 270s now. He was just at 300 like 2 weeks ago. So it's been a grind for him. Schwarber's getting it going a little bit. It's been a real grind for Trey Turner, JT Realmuto. Nick Castellanos has picked it up a little bit. But, these guys, there's a reason they always have $1 billion payroll for, certain players on this ball club is for them to produce. Right now, they aren't doing it. So, yeah, there is a little panic up here in Philly.
At Ben Davis, NBCS on Twitter is how you can follow him. Ben, really appreciate it, man. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
My pleasure, Glenn. Glad I could hop on with you.